Twerk your fast ass, girl, you bound bag that. I know you bag that, you like to get to the bag. Yeah. Twerk your fast ass, girl, you bound bag that. I know you bag that, you like to get to the bag. Yeah. Twerk your fast ass, girl, you bound bag that. I know you bag that, you like to get to the bag.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ranting with Ricardo. Welcome. I'm Nikki. I am your hostess with the mostest here. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here and you like the content, like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and share me with your people. If you don't like the content, still like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and share me with your people because you may not like me, but somebody out there does. If you want to follow me on social media, you want to buy merch, lip gloss, Amazon KDP book. Well, that's not linked down. If you want to buy merch, you want to take a look at the Amazon storefront, the Amazon wish list, you want to donate to the channel, or you need a way to contact me for business, and you can find everything in the description box down below and scrolling across the bottom of the screen. But that being said, I'm not gonna hold y'all up too much. With this intro, we are here to talk about the 2023 WGA, which is the Writers Guild of America, and the SAG, which is Screen Actors Guild, AFTRA, which covers many other, talent, strike. Okay, and what we know so far, what's happened so far. Um, I just want to put it out there that it is a hot union summer because not only is the WGA and SAG-AFTRA striking, so is UPS in certain states. So is a medieval times in California. They're striking. A lot of people are striking because nobody's making livable wage. You have to take on at least 2 to 3 other jobs just to, be poor, but make sure your bills are paid. So to survive, in order to have a space for you and your family to live, so no one's making livable wage. A lot of these places have unsafe working conditions. The money is being hoarded, shout out to capitalism, by big business and CEOs. AI has become a huge factor in a lot of these industries of trying to replace people where they don't need to be replaced, and no one asked for this, no one needed this, and nobody was asking for you to come in and try to replace anyone, and nobody on the outside was also asking for you to come and try to replace any of these people in these job areas. Right now, we're going to focus on the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike and what's happened so far, what we know so far. Specifically, why I'm talking about this is because I went to school to be a producer. I went to college to be a producer. I got a master's degree in educational technology. So if I wanted to teach, I could. Really, it was just so I could be paid more, paid my worth. But even then, I feel like the teachers should go on strike, in my opinion, because they don't get paid enough to work as hard as they do and be who they are to these students. They are so much more than teachers to these students. So there's that. But going from my undergrad, I went to school to be a producer, to work in the entertainment field, to work on movies and television because I love movies and I love television. This was just very simplistic way of explaining this. Movies and television as a kid was my escape. I am an introverted extrovert, but as soon as that social battery dies, I'm up out of cheer. I would rather be at home, and watching movies and watching TV allowed me to, dream of different worlds and, really start to understand, different complex things, not only, outside world, understanding different complex things, but also getting it from my media and, different things like that, being taught certain things. So I went to school to be a producer. And currently, with the rise of different things going on in the industry, I may never get that chance based off of how the AM, I want to have this right. I want to have this correct. The AMPTP is trying to operate. They work in favor of stockholders and big business and not the people who drive the industry, not the people who are working in craft services who make sure that there are snacks and there's food set up for the actors and the production members, um not the people in costume design who are making sure that everyone has their clothing. You have extras just in case, something happens to the clothes. Not the people doing hair and makeup who have to be there earlier than even the actors. So first of all, um hair and makeup and costume design have to be there at the studio. Their call time is earlier than the people who are on the sets acting. Not going for the production crew who, do the lighting, who have to be there earlier, who are doing sound, who are runners just in case, craft services isn't set up that morning as everyone is getting to the set. You have people running off to get you whatever you ask for, whatever you need. So many people, so many people are encompassed in this. And everyone has, I'm going to tell you now, everybody has their own union. I'm not sure what's going on with the other unions around, entertainment right now. I will look into that. But currently we're talking about the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. This is the first time in 63 years that both of them have been on strike at the same time. So I'm here to tell you, if you think you're getting fall TV this year, you're not, because the WGA won't, if I remember it correctly, they won't be back into, yeah, negotiations between the WGA and studios won't be happening until October, according to industry insiders. So there will be no fall television that we're used to. There will be no winter television that we're used to, especially because the actors, they on strike too. So let me just, based off of everybody compiling the facts so I can give them to y'all. Hello, Gabby Janice. Welcome, welcome, welcome. These companies don't give a damn about the smaller people that keep their business open. My job is going through something similar. My job kept not paying us on time, so we closed up shop. You don't pay me on time, we don't work. And that's basically how this goes. People don't want to pay you on time. People don't want to pay you your worth. They want to lowball you. Currently, they want to own your image. It's so much going on. So let's get into this. This is from the Instagram page Impact. There are so many articles about this, news stories on this. Fran Drescher, y'all also know her as Nanny Fine. Fran Fine from The Nanny. She is the president of SAG-AFTRA. She has been speaking about this. Like this, I'll tell you this now. Based off what I've been watching and I've been intaking for the WGA and SAG, this was not something that they thought they would have to do. They thought negotiations would go like go in a positive direction. This strike wasn't something they thought, oh yeah, we're gonna have to strike. They thought negotiations were going in a positive direction, but they weren't. And it was like, well, if we don't strike now, we're never going to have the opportunity to really fight for us and fight for the people who are coming up under us and fight for those past, present, and future, because it's more than just the present and it's more than just the future of Hollywood. It's all about the people in the past as well and what could possibly happen to their likeness, so on and so forth. So let's get into this. So Hollywood is now effectively shut down. 65,000 actors are going on strike, joining the 11,000 film and TV writers. Actually, it's more than 65. 160,000 actors are currently on strike right now. And some people I've been hearing, well, the millionaires, they're all millionaires. They just want more money. They just want more this. They just want more that. No, that is not the case. Most of the out of those 160,000 actors who are currently on strike, who are card carrying members of SAG-AFTRA, out of the 160,000 of them, not all of them are millionaires. Not all of them are rich. Not all of them are wealthy. Not all of them are the 1%. There are a portion of them that are, but the rest of them are actors who have been doing background work for the past 10 years that, they don't have the financial stability that, a A-lister who's in a like huge blockbusters every summer would have, or a main cast member on a long running TV show. They are not, those people. They are also not making a lot of money as people would think. I'm gonna run it down to you, but it's not like, oh, millionaires just trying to get rich. No, they are everyday people just like us trying to make a living and trying to take care of their families, while most of them are living in California, a very expensive place to live. Rent out there, I want to say last time I looked, because I was looking to, move to California, because I was like, well, if I ever want to work in production, I need to be where, productions are happening. For a studio, not even a one bedroom, a studio without a kitchen. A studio in California without a kitchen, last time I checked, was like, I want to say $1,800. Yeah, so think about people out there acting, having to take care of their families, and they are having to, especially if they have multiple children, you now have to find a place to live that can accommodate you and your children and your significant other. That's a lot of money being shelled out. But I'm going to hold off on that and I'm going to get into this. The Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, or SAG-AFTRA, is striking after negotiations fell through with a group that represents the industry's top studios. That is the AMPTP. And this is what, this is what was said.
Celebrated the 90th anniversary of the incorporation of Screen Actors Guild. During our nearly century-long existence, we've fought for and achieved countless gains for working actors. Today, we embark on a new important chapter in our union's history. Earlier this morning, the SAG-AFTRA National Board convened following 4 weeks of negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the AMPTP. Because the AMPTP remains unwilling to offer a fair deal on key issues essential to protecting the livelihoods of working actors and performers, SAG-AFTRA's National Board unanimously voted to issue a strike order against the studios and streamers. Yesterday, our union celebrated.
So that what was said by, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get his name. I just know, the president is standing there. Studio running Cali sounds about right. That's why I'm leaving. Cali is not all glitz and glam as they portray it to be. And it's not. It's not. A lot of people flock there, driving up housing prices. Gentrification is also happening, so that's also driving up housing prices, and a lot of people cannot afford to live there. People who have been there for generations upon generations are starting to not be able to afford to live somewhere where their family has always been, and a lot of people are moving out of California. So SAG-AFTRA is a union representing 160,000 media professionals, including actors, announcers, broadcast journalists, dancers, DJs, program hosts, recording artists, singers, stunt performers, and voiceover artists. According to actor Denise Cabanella, it's a very very small percentage of the 160,000 plus member union that actually can make a living off the work we do. Because of this, 65,000 actors are now walking off sets in protest. And what that means is not a lot of the actors get paid the big bucks. Like, not a lot of them are making, I want to say most are not making, like, say you get a television show and the headlines reads, oh, this person is making $1 million plus an episode, or this person is making 100,000 plus an episode. That does not go for background actors. That does not go for guest stars. That's not going for um I think like a regular, not a series, I think like a series regular. that does not, like, they're not making that much. A guy, his name is Luke. He was on the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was on Netflix. Let us know that he made about $7,000 an episode, and he lives in California. He has children. After paying taxes on the money, because they do have to pay taxes on their money, just like we do when we get, when we work for someone and we have taxes taken out of our check. Same for them. After they pay the taxes off the money they've just made, they also have to delve out a percentage to an agent, a publicist, and a lawyer. And whatever is left over is what they're left to, live on. This is why you see, if you're ever wondering, why do actors, why are they in magazines, or why are they doing brand deals, or why are they doing this, why are they doing that? Because not a lot of them can survive off of acting and acting alone. Perfect example, the actor who played Sandra's husband on the Cosby Show. When everything happened, that we all know the court cases that happened to with Bill Cosby. The Cosby Show was snatched out of syndication, and in syndication, I want to say, you make a good amount of money. I would say the people who were acting on the show, the Cosby Show, made a good amount of money. I'm not gonna, say that's fact, but I feel like because that show was in syndication on so many networks, Bounce TV, TV One, the Spire Network, TV Land, Nick at Night, like, it was in syndication on so many networks that was a nice check in the United States. And we're not talking about overseas, we're talking about the United States. That once that was gone, on top of the fact that you may have like a dry spell, you may not be working as much, so you have to go out there and get a second job. He was working at Trader Joe's. Like, residuals weren't coming in, bills still need to be paid, kids still need to be taken care of, things still need to, be happening to make ends meet. He took a job at Trader Joe's, and we all know how that, worked out. People were taking videos and pictures of him, working there, and people were shaming him, saying that, you know, oh, you didn't, manage your money right. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. Let's be clear on something. Just because, as Gabby Janice said, residuals stop, does not mean paying agents and lawyers and publicists stop. That does not stop. They still have to get their percentage. Like I said, bills still have to be paid. And to me, agents, lawyers, publicists, they're still a bill. They still have to be paid on top of regular bills that need to be paid. Making sure, if you have children, young children, are still being taken care of. Making sure you still keep food on your table and clothes on your back and gas in your car to get you around to places. All this still needs to be paid. So, residual stop. He had to take a job, and he did, because that's what people do. Hey, no, it's fine. It's fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But that's what people do. People take on multiple jobs to make sure they can make ends meet. I'll I'll tell y'all this. Teachers that I had in high school, even college professors I had, they had second jobs, because just off a teacher's salary alone was not going to allow them to take care of themselves. And if they had children, that definitely was not going to allow them to just take care of the children. They had to take second jobs. I had a teacher in high school quit working as a teacher to work as a bartender full time, because he made more money as a bartender than he ever did as a teacher. That's the world we're living in. And this was back in like 2015, 2016. He quit his job as a teacher to go work as a bartender full time because he made more money doing that. And that's the world we're living in, where people have to work 3, 4, 5 jobs just to make sure they're at least poor, but they are not in debt. So that's what happens with the actors. Some residuals stop based off things that are happening with either the creators of the shows or the actors on the shows. Residuals can be far and few between, because, hey, guess what? Television isn't the same as it used to be. Back in the day, you used to get, I want to say, 20 to 32 episodes of a show, depending on if they wanted the show to go longer. And I'm talking about scripted shows. So you get these many episodes, these shows run. You get 100 episodes, you get into syndication. And that's what the people wanted to do back in the day. You get at least 100 episodes out of your show, and you get into syndication, and the show lives on forever. And you will continue to collect on residuals. The cast of Friends continues to collect on residuals. Why? Because their show made 100 episodes, made it to 100 episodes. They're in syndication. They're on a lot of networks. This is no longer the case. Now, for regular network television, you're lucky if you get, you're lucky if you will get a 22 episode season. That's if you're lucky. That's if you're lucky if you'll get a 22 episode season. Then brought in cable. Now, some cable shows are different. Some cable shows were giving 22 episodes a season, but that's few and far between. Most scripted television shows that are on cable, you get it. I'm going to say at most you'll get 10 episodes out of them. At most. At most, you possibly get 10 episodes. You may even get 15 episodes. But at the very least, you'll probably get an 8-episode season. And that does not keep the actors working for long. An 8 to 10 episode season is only about 4 to 5 months worth of filming television. That show didn't need 100 episodes. Which show didn't need 100 episodes? Most cable shows now, you're lucky if you get like 10 episodes. Sometimes you'll get 8 episodes. So I'll say P Valley, for example. Hey, just simply P Valley. Their first season, they got 8 episodes. And that had us wanting more. That was a new show being brought by stars. So sometimes for me, I figure with these new shows, they don't want to give them too many episodes in a season because, they don't know what it's going to do. So you have time to be like, okay, we put out these 8 episodes. If it doesn't do much, then we don't have to bring it back. The next season they got 10 episodes. We all felt like that wasn't much. But that is, how most of these shows operate. They get about 8. Oh, Friends didn't need 100 episodes. Listen, who you telling? But not my business. Most cable shows now, unless you are a Tyler Perry show, which is written by him, produced, directed, everything by him. Unless you're a Tyler Perry show, you quite possibly are getting at least 8 to 10 episodes. That's 4 to 5 months of filming. And then you are off to find a new job. Unless it's written into your contract that you can't find a new job to continue to sustain yourself. And then also, you have to wait to see if you will be brought back onto the show before you go off and take other jobs. So now you're being dangled, like it's being dangled in front of you. The show may have gotten renewed, but if you're coming back, it's like really up in the air. And then we introduced streaming. Now, the last time the writers went on strike, streaming wasn't a thing. And the last time the actors went on a strike, streaming wasn't a thing. The last time the actors went on strike was, and I want to have this correct, because streaming definitely wasn't a thing the last time actors went on strike. The last time the WGA went on strike was 2007 to 2008. That was the 2007 and 2008 television and movie. A lot of shows that were on air got canceled because the writers weren't there to come back and write for the shows that had aired during that time, like brand new shows. There was a show called Pushing Daisies. I really liked that show, but because it got caught up in the writer's strike, that show got canceled. They had started airing The New Bionic Woman on NBC. That also got canceled due to the writer's strike. Like, you didn't have writers to come in, and it's very frowned upon to go scabbing for, to write on different shows because I'll say this. Obviously, you can tell if the episodes you're getting from a show are from scabs because the tone is not there in the writing, the storyline doesn't get followed, correctly. It's just like it'll be a weird situation. So let's see. Last time they were on strike, I'm gonna have to see this. So history. Wait, hold on. I should have had this pulled up. I am so sorry. I'm trying to make sure I have the correct time of the last time they went on strike. Because this is the first time in 63 years that both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA have been on strike together. But I'm trying to make sure I have the correct, for the last time they went on strike as a whole. Because I want to say the last time SAG went on strike was in the 1980s. Yes. Okay, so the last time the SAG-AFTRA went on strike was in 1980, and the strike lasted for 3 months. And then they went on, because I'm seeing something for 2000, and once again, I want to have it correct. Okay, so the very last strike that SAG-AFTRA went on was in 2000. That lasted for 6 months. 6 months of no movies and no television. And then the one before that was 1980. Once again, streaming was not a thing every time these strikes happen. So now we work streaming into this whole situation. Residuals are not being paid out to the actors who are on shows on streaming platforms like they should be. A actress from Orange is the New Black got her residual check, and she had so many episodes of Orange is the New Black that she was in, and her check came out too. And I will tell y'all, because I made sure to download this, but I'm gonna have to, mute my phone because there's music. So she worked on so many episodes, and when I say it's a long list, I mean it's a long list. And don't forget, this is people multiple times have been watching or rewatching episodes, and a total of people rewatching all these episodes and these episodes being played made a total of $27.30. Hear me when I say this. She made a total of $27.30 off of all the episodes she was in and all the episodes that were aired constantly. And she made at least, I want to say, 1 cent, 3 cent, 4 cent. Yes, 2 cents. And that's off streaming platforms and streaming platforms alone. They don't really pay their actors on in residuals. Streaming platforms was never worked into how residuals would work out. So they just pay them whatever they want to pay them. And they know they can pay them whatever they want to pay them in residuals because the last time strikes happened, streaming wasn't a thing. They didn't have to think about this. So writers and actors are making less than what they would make if this was regular syndication on the network your show aired on. A writer on that, and that was an actress, a writer on Abbott made about $12,000 an episode. By the time the episode made it to streaming, this writer made $700 in residuals off that episode of it being re-aired again. Streaming was a big blow to writers and actors when it came to, whatever residuals they would make off of their likeness, their work that they were doing. Huge blow to them. There is an actor the actor from Kendrick Sampson from Insecure. He got 50 residual checks. He's a part of SAG. He got 56 residual checks. He said by the time he made it to check number 50, all 50 of those checks in total counted up and added up to $86. Not $86 every single check he got. No, in total, 50 out of the 56 checks he had opened and totaled up leveled out to $86. It's not enough for him to take care of himself. I don't know if he has children. I don't know if he has other family members that he's taking care of. That's not enough to take care of himself. Mind you, they still have to pay. Writers too. They still have to pay. Agents, publicists, lawyers. Everybody has to get their percentage. You still have to pay taxes on this money. I'm not sure how that works out with residuals. I will learn as I will be, and y'all may get sick of hearing about the strikes because it's a hot union summer out here. Everybody's striking. But I'm going to continue talking about the strikes. That's not enough. Here's another thing y'all should know about this. For people who are card-carrying members of SAG, in order to qualify for SAG healthcare, you have to make $26,000 a year. Most of these people don't make $26,000 a year to be able to afford the healthcare that falls under SAG. For the WGA, they have to make $41,000 a year, or for 4 quarters or less to be considered for their healthcare under the WGA. Some of them don't even make that. These are the things they're fighting for. And it makes, you hear about this stuff in just everyday life when people are, but this just tells us that these are everyday people just like us, trying to make ends meet, trying to make sure they have health care to take care of themselves and take care of their families, trying to make sure that, hey, at least if I'm poor, I'm not in debt, which is a lot of our mindsets right now. I may be poor, but at least I'm not in debt. These people don't make enough doing what they love to sustain themselves and any other person that is up under them. So they have to go out and get other jobs. Some people who stopped, Maya Bielkum, she played Blossom. She stopped acting, went to college, super smart. Couldn't get great health care in the field she was in, had to come back to acting to be able to afford health care. That's how crazy this is. What are you saying? 50 checks added up to $86, bruh, ain't no way. Think about this. And that is, so I'm going to say this. Some of these checks that get sent out to these actors aren't even worth the money that they were printed on. Brandy Evans, who plays Mercedes on P-Valley, she's done other acting gigs. She's a part of SAG. P-Valley is not her only job, but she's done other acting jobs. And she's a part of SAG. She had checks, residual checks that were worth maybe $3, a penny, 99 cents. And not saying nobody else has anything going on, but she is, I believe the primary caregiver for her mother. So you have people who are primary caregivers for their mothers. You have people who, have children and they have to take care of them. You have people who have to pay their staffs. All of this is going on. Not saying anyone is better than anybody. Not saying no one has anything, worse going on than the next person. But getting residual checks for a penny? What is the point? Why would you even want, like, why would you want to cash that? Most people allow their residual checks to pile up and then they'll go deposit them, because what is the point of me going to, to the bank to put a penny in my bank account? Yes, this is ridiculous. I don't even know if, here's the thing, I don't know if they can do that. Yes, you do have to pay taxes on residuals. Taxes on residuals are a thing. I'm gonna just say it. How the hell are you supposed to pay taxes on a penny? How are you supposed to, out of your residuals? Because I feel like you have to pay, your people out of your residuals. How the hell are you supposed to give people a percentage of a penny? What does a percentage of a penny look like? Listen, because I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm throwing myself in there, but this is the field that I want to work in. And right now, it's not even, well, I'm just touching residuals. This is not even the cusp of why, strikes are happening. And it's not just strikes in this field, it's strikes happening all over, because people aren't making living wage. People can't afford to take care of themselves and their family members. They're working in unsafe working conditions. People are forming unions right now. People are handing notices to the bosses, to the CEOs of their companies, letting them know this is a 10-day strike notice. Hey, Deb. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Like, people are handing 10-day strike notices to the CEOs and their bosses to let them know that, hey, we gonna go on strike. Because the world we are currently living in, capitalism, is not working out. Y'all continue to make bank off of us, and we can't even afford to buy a carton of eggs. We can't even afford to deposit a check that is worth a penny. How do you, once again, I ask, how do you pay taxes on a penny? What is 10% of a penny? That's 1 cent. I don't know what that is. So, continuing what's going on, SAG-AFTRA negotiated with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, AMPTP. From what I heard, is not even really producers, it's legitimately studios and big business, but that's the name they have been working with for a very long time. A trade association for the industry's top studios and production companies. They failed to reach common ground on a number of issues, including fair compensation for content on streaming services. That's a big thing because, like I said, last time the WGA went on strike was 2007, 2008. Streaming wasn't a thing. DVR, TiVo, that was a thing, but streaming was not a thing. Last time actors, SAG-AFTRA went on strike, 2000. Streaming wasn't a thing. So now they are making less than what they would make if their shows aired on, regular network television, even on their own network, like cable, even. Like, they're not making anything off their residuals. Protection of intellectual creative property and the rise of AI. We're going to get into that. The rise of self-taped auditions, which used to be paid for by casting or production departments. Self-tape auditions are a big thing now. A lot of people, are self-taping. Honestly, I see nothing wrong with self-taping if you know exactly what you're doing. A lot of people on TikTok and YouTube and different platforms will teach you, if you're an actor, how to self-tape your auditions for you. But fair compensation to give that back, since the people are doing the jobs that used to be done for and paid by, casting and production departments. That needs to be, in the realm of talks. Like, what does that look like for these people who are doing the jobs themselves? The AMPTP says they offered many concessions to meet SAG-AFTRA's demands, including pay and residual increases, audition protections, and AI proposal that protects actors' digital likeness. However, SAG-AFTRA still authorized the strike by 97.91% margin. It begins today and will include actors who work in film and TV, but not news industries. Actor strikes follow the writer strike by the Writers Guild of America, which has been ongoing for 2 months. The writers went on strike in May. Their contract ended in May. If you've heard me talk about this before, I've said this before on, some of my videos. I said, get ready to not have new television or movies that had not already been filmed, or like if the scripts hadn't already been written and they weren't already filming it and everything. Get ready to not have any like new shows coming out until 2024. Now it could be longer. Euphoria just pushed their new season back to 2026 because who knows how long this is going to last. I'm telling y'all now, get ready to not have a fall season of television and a winter season of television. I cannot say anything for spring. I know I've heard that some of the studios and programming are pushing, different shows back and to air in the spring, but we don't know what's going to happen because right now we are still in the early days of the actors striking. The writers have been on strike for 2 months. WGA members are striking for similar reasons, citing better pay is needed in the streaming era, where the median pay has declined 23% when adjusted for inflation. Studios don't seem to be backing down at all, betting on workers need to survive to quell the strikes. So this is what was said. They got it from a studio insider. The end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, said a studio executive. Well, let's be clear on something. A lot of actors and a lot of writers are poor. They've already lost their houses. They've already lost, their apartments. A lot of them are, some people have moved back home to live with their parents because they cannot afford to do this. That's what's been happening. Negotiations between WGA and studios will likely not happen until October, according to industry insiders. The SAG-AFTRA and the WGA strike marks the first dual strike in 63 years. The last time they went on strike was when, oh my God, Ronald Reagan was president of SAG-AFTRA. It hurt me to say that. That's the last time WGA and SAG-AFTRA were on strike at the same time. Hollywood cannot run without its writers and actors. With streaming services and AI becoming a mainstay fixture in film and TV, writers and actors deserve contracts that reflect the new landscape of Hollywood. Creative industry should not be reserved only for the rich. And if you guys want to follow along with this, there are multiple SAG and WGA union members on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. They're everywhere. They're talking about this. They're trying to get it out to the people. CBS News is covering this. Deadline covers this. NBC is covering this. NPR is covering this. SAG-AFTRA has their own website, and we're going to take a look at that website. Vanity Fair is covering this. Every, I want to say, major news outlet on social media and regular, television is covering this situation. So let's get into the AI of it all. So, because streaming is a thing, there's not really a writer's room. Like when there's like a show, we get 22 to 32 episodes a season. Like I said, right about now for regular network television, and depending on what cable network it is and who is doing the seasons, you legitimately might get 22 episodes, but you probably would get less than 22 episodes. The highest would be 22 episodes on a cable television show. The lowest would be 8 episodes. Just depends on who's writing, producing, and what network it's on. Streaming is a thing. On streaming, you probably get maybe like 5 to 10 episodes. 5 to 10. 5 to 10. That's the number. 5 to 10 episodes. 5 to 10 episodes in a season. You don't have a writer's room. There is no writer's room there, or you may have a ghost team. You go in, you write maybe a season with the ghost team, and then you have the showrunner, the ghost team. The showrunner stays, the ghost team is gone. The writer's room is starting to, become smaller and smaller as it pertains to what streaming is doing to a writer's room. Also, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry doesn't actually have a writer's room, really. He writes, produces, and directs most of his content. So there's no writer's room there. Because there is no writer's room, and for some of these productions, some of these television shows, some of these movies, the writers are starting to become obsolete. And if AI is introduced, then they will be taking scripts from the writers that they've already done and putting it into, however they're going to set it up. Justine Bateman did an interview talking about this. I will link it in the description box down below because it's someone else's content. I don't want to play it on here. She explained that once, you feed a script into this machine, this algorithm, that is going to spit out whatever you want it to spit out. If you want it to be like, Batman fighting Iron Man. If you want scripts like that, that's what it's going to produce, but it's going to continue to reproduce the same thing over and over and over and over and over again based off the scripts it's already been fed. So the writers want to protect their intellectual property. They want to be able to have their residuals, and they want to keep AI out of the writer's room. They don't want to be replaced. We don't, as a person who watches movies and television, movies and television, I don't want the writers to be replaced. I appreciate the writers being in writer's room. I appreciate the new writers that are coming up in this industry because they have something to say. There is a certain feel that you will never like an AI machine, a robot, nothing will ever be able to give to a movie or a television show, especially when you're supposed to be expressing human emotions and what's going on a day-to-day basis in regular lives. They're not going to be able to do that. So writers want to keep AI out of the writer's room. Because most likely this is what they're trying to do, is to replace. First of all, no one asked for AI to be in arts. There are so many creative people coming up in industry, so many creative people who are probably not a part of the union or never given the time of day, but continue to create and make magic. People complain about reboots and the regurgitation of past movies and shows. Well, the regurgitation wouldn't be happening if others were given the opportunity to actually showcase their work and they were given the time and day and the backing to do so. For the actors, they want to background actors. A lot of actors, if you didn't know, work as background, do a lot of background work until they can really break into the industry, maybe get their first big role, maybe get a guest star, a guest appearance, maybe a series regular, or get like that big role that's going to pay them enough in the movies or on TV to cover all their debts, pay the people who need to be paid, take care of who needs to be taken care of, and still have money left over. For background actors, the studio AI proposal to SAG-AFTRA included them scanning a background actor's likeness for 1 day's worth of pay and using their likeness forever in any form they wanted to, any way they wanted to, however they wanted to, without paying that background actor anything after that time. If they scan them after 1 day's work, paid them for that 1 day's work, they own their likeness, they could use it however they wanted to, and they don't have to pay the background actors. Based off the proposal they were giving to SAG-AFTRA, they wouldn't have to pay the background actors again, and they can do it without the background actors' consent. They would never need their consent because they own this likeness of this person. It's theirs to do with what they want to do with it. Why would that be something that y'all want to do? Why would that be something that people would be okay with? Now, some people would possibly do it to make hey, I gotta make this money so I can pay these bills. But that's for a day. You're not gonna get paid after that. Why do you think background actors or anybody trying to break into the business would be okay with that? You now own my likeness. There's no point of what am I going to do? what other job can I get now that you own my likeness? You could use it however you see fit. What does that do for me? Absolutely nothing. So, I believe Sean Astin said some things about the AI proposal. Let me go and get into it, because I did bookmark this. Make sure I have it. But currently, so far, y'all tell me what y'all are thinking about the strike and everything that's going on with it as I pull this up. I want to make sure I have everything. Okay, so Sean Astin, who is a part of, is very quick for me to pull up, who is a part of SAG-AFTRA. If y'all don't know who Sean Astin is, he was in Lord of the Rings. He played Mikey in the Goonies. He's been in a lot of, like, movies and television shows. His mother is Patty Duke. I'll continue. Sean Astin, who is a part of the SAG-AFTRA negotiation committee, said they had AI experts who spent months working on proposals to present to the studios, but the producers wouldn't engage and really talk about what's at stake. They wouldn't talk about what's at stake. There was a... Did I save it to my phone? I hope I saved it. If I didn't, there was... Like, they didn't want to talk about what AI could possibly look like in, the studio realm, of the actors realm, or anything else. I believe one guy from, who was talking about AI, they want to put 100 years worth of an actor's work into the AI system, or however that works, to reproduce and recreate 100 years worth of different actors and their work. So they don't have to pay actors to come to set and do the work. So they can use the actor's likeness and however they see fit, whatever they want to do with it. By doing this way, and we'll talk more about the AI situation because I'm going to continue to report on this, but by doing that would make actors obsolete. What are they going to do? Once again, no one asked for AI to be in the arts. Nobody wanted AI in the arts. Once again, I repeat this. There are so many creative people out here, amazing creatives, that are not given the time of day because of the color of their skin, or, their sexuality or their gender, or because they don't have the connections to get into the rooms. They are not given the time of day to showcase their work. Or you steal their work and put your name on it, and then they have to fight you for it. AI is a big problem. I know a lot of people have been, using AI filters and have been, I say this, I am known for using a filter. I know someone suggested, there's something someone was suggesting about, using AI. And listen, let's be clear. AI is not just a problem in the arts. It is a problem for everyone. We are, like Fran Gesture said, we are close to being replaced by machines, because big business would rather let the rich get richer while the rest of us are scrounging for scraps. And that's the world we're currently living in. Capitalism has us, like, what are we going to do? People are taking multiple upon multiple upon multiple jobs just to make ends meet. You have property taxes being raised for certain people in the neighborhoods that are in the same zoning on the same block, while others stays the same. This is what, SAG president Fran Drescher um, stated that the major studios have proposed outrageous terms such as hiring an actor for a single day, pay as an extra, scanning their likeness for AI training, and then having the ability to use the likeness indefinitely without additional compensation. We've talked about this. Here's the actor's list of demands against artificial intelligence. Protection of personal brand from AI. SAG-AFTRA is working to promote state laws that protect an actor's right of publicity. This means that an actor's voice and likeness cannot be used to promote a product without their consent or compensation. This is important because the music industry is also gearing up to litigate this issue due to users repurposing famous artists' names for marketing/selling AI-generated music, i.e., AI Drake. 2. Federal protection of voice and likeness against AI. SAG is also working with lawmakers to protect voice and likenesses of actors and creators at the federal level, specifically in expressive works. The goal is to prevent the simulation of people's voices and images without their consent or compensation. This will be powerful protection for actors, voice and music artists. Consider a studio who steals a low-level actor's likeness and used a deepfake tech to create a billion-dollar franchise while that actor is still busting tables looking for his/hers big break. This is a thing. If y'all don't know what deepfakes are, I'm gonna be honest. You can find a lot of deepfakes in the porno industry. That's where I first heard about deepfakes, in the porno industry, where they would take regular people's faces and put them on porno stars, or take famous faces and put them on porno stars. And I don't mean like copy and paste the head of someone on another person's. No, actually using AI to take the face of a regular everyday person, maybe someone you don't like. I've seen it and heard it done with wrestlers, different celebrities. They will take their faces using the AI to put them on the corner stars' faces, and then boom, you're like, oh yeah, this person was doing this, when in reality they weren't. Give me 1 second. Stronger copyright protections for humans against AI. SAG-AFTRA is advocating for stronger federal copyright protections. They believe that using copyrighted works to train generated AI's infringement input and put AI created work output, it cannot be copyrighted. 4. Union bargaining for AI training rights. The union has publicly stated that acquiring rights to train an AI system with a performer's voice and likeness, or using an AI system to create new performances using a performer's voice and likeness must be bargained with the union. A company cannot obtain these rights from individual performers. So instead of someone just giving up, their saying, oh yeah, you can use my voice, or you can use, my likeness, you can do this, you can do that. No, individuals, as much as we love you and say you can make your own decisions, this should be left up to the union to get you the right compensation and the right compensation and different things to make sure that if you decide to do this or take on, that role, you are still getting compensated for it. They cannot use your likeness to, or your voice to do, things that wouldn't align with your morals and different things like that. SAG says the shift threatens the livelihoods of creatives, and it's clearly a cost-cutting control measure from executives. And AI should be downgraded to serve as a tool and not a replacement, which is true. It should be a tool to help, not something that is used as a replacement for people, not just in the entertainment industry, but other industries. If we continue to move the way we move, this could possibly replace all of us. And then what are we going to do to survive? How are we going to work? How are we going to take care of ourselves? If you take care of someone, how are you supposed to take care of them if you can't work at your job because AI has taken over? Currently, a few paralegals from my research were fired because the lawyers decided to use ChatGPT to, work on their cases and do the paperwork that needed to be done. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the correct terms. Y'all can look this up. And those lawyers got in trouble for doing that. Real news articles, y'all can look it up. So this is what we're currently going on right now. Because as of now, it is designed to marginalize humans in favor of an algorithm that gives studio executives unlimited power to recycle their existing creative works. Although the Directors Guild brokered a deal with studios recently, they will be largely be unaffected by AI because primarily managers of creative talent. On the other hand, SAG, representing the creative talent themselves, faces a greater threat against normalization and implementation of AI. AI is a big problem. And here is, I'll play Fran as, Miss Drescher, the president of SAG, as she gave her speech on everything.
Believe it, quite frankly. How far apart we are on so many things. How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. It is disgusting. Shame on them. They stand on the wrong side of history at this very moment. We stand in solidarity, in unprecedented unity. Our union and our sister unions and the unions around the world are standing by us, as well as other labor unions. Because at some point, the jig is up. You cannot keep being dwindled and marginalized and disrespected and dishonored. The entire business model has been changed by streaming, digital, AI. This is a moment of history that is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble. We are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines and big business, who cares more about Wall Street than you and your family. Most of Americans don't have more than $500 in an emergency.
That was a piece of what Fran had to say about, the situation that is going on. If you want to see more of what she said, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna link some stuff down below so you guys can check it out so you could be well informed. Because there's like so many things going on.
I can be here on behalf of these people and this great industry that has been disemboweled by the people that we are in negotiations with, without thought or consideration of how it was going to impact everybody in this industry up and down the ladder. We are all suffering from the threats of streaming and digital and AI, and we must pull in the reins on this wild pony right here and now. How long can you hold out? Well, we just started and we have unprecedented support from our union. And, we are, the eyes of the world are upon us. This is not just happening in our industry. It's happening around the world.
I'm sorry, it got super low, but the person who was interviewing Fran, asked, how long do you guys think you can hold out? As long as they need to. Like I mentioned earlier when I started this, the last strike SAG went on, which was in 2000, they held out for 6 months. They can hold out as long as they need to. They can hold out as long as they need to. Going back to this. So here's some basic info for the people who are just coming in, some more info about this. Basic info about SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes and how you can help supporting striking workers. The WGA, Writers Guild Association, or Writers Guild of America, went on strike May 2nd. SAG-AFTRA, Screen Actors Guild, and AFTRA is, television, radio, artist, and I forgot the other two. I'ma get it. Went on strike July 14th. So it is July 15th. This is the official first day of striking, or no, the official second day of striking. It is the first time in over, some people say 60, some people say 70 years, the two unions have been on strike at the same time. The unions are striking against AMPTP, Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers. From what I've heard, not a lot of producers in this whole situation. It's really just, huge studios and streaming networks. This includes Amazon Studios, Apple Studios, Disney as a whole, Hulu, NBC Universal. And if you're wondering who's under NBC Universal, NBC, Bravo, yeah. I'm gonna be talking about, what does this strike look like for these networks, and the different networks and what it means for their content. NBC Universal, Netflix, Paramount. If you don't know, Paramount has, Paramount, Viacom CBS. Paramount is, the name of it. They have a lot of television and movies up under their belt. Paramount, Sony, Warner Brothers / Discovery. Warner Brothers / Discovery owns 95% of OWN Network. So tonight, I will be talking about what that looks like for OWN right now. ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and all their subsidiaries. The basic issue of the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes are increasing minimums for lowest paid members, like cost of living increases, protection from studios using AI to replace workers, which is a big thing. Adjusting pay structure and residuals for streaming industry, that's another big thing. While CEOs and executives of studios earn millions of dollars each year, actors and writers are asking for living wage and job protections. How can you help support SAG-AFTRA and WGA strike? Please donate to the Entertainment Community Fund at entertainmentcommunity.org. That's if you can. Join a picket line. You don't have to be a union member to picket. Post your support on social media. If you see or hear misinformation about the strike, please educate others, which I'm trying to do. And if, anything I said does not align or is not is misinformed, please let me know so I can come back and correct myself accordingly. How can you help support them? Right now, there is no union request to boycott movies or TV shows or cancel streaming services. Please continue to enjoy your favorite TV and streaming shows and watch movies in the theater. That's they're not asking you to cut off, cancel your streaming services. They're not asking you to stop watching TV, stop watching movies. They're not asking you to do any of those things. How SAG-AFTRA strike affects content creators. So this is where, because, I'm a content creator, full-time content creator. My other people, I consider family on here. So Deb, Nola Reeds, Bar Meets World, California Cutie, DeQuasia, I consider them family. And for those, that I've been in, that have been content creators longer than me, Bonnie Blue, Scotty by Nature, different Jamie, that's me, Niecy Dixon, just different people as House of Princess, as content creators. What does this look like for us, especially since we give commentary on movies and television shows? Some give, do hot topics and different things, but for those of us who started doing commentary on movies and television shows, whether they're reality TV, scripted movies, what does this look like for us? So right now, I'll tell y'all what has been put out so far. SAG-AFTRA has not released specific guidelines for content creators and influencers who work with studios. Most of us don't work with studios. I know I don't, so I don't know about the rest of the people. But based on standard guidelines from SAG-AFTRA, creators who are SAG-AFTRA members need to cease any and all work with studios, including, well, no, this was 19 hours ago. I don't know if they can. I'm going to just say this. I'm not going to read this part because I'm not sure if they're allowed to cease all work. I think they have to ride out the rest of, if you're contracted to do something, I'm under the belief that you have to ride out the rest of that contract, but you were not able, if you're a member. No, this is for members. Creators who are SAG-AFTRA members need to cease any and all work with the studios, including any promotion of any studio work. Creators who have aspirations to join SAG-AFTRA should cease working with studios as a precaution. Why is this a precaution? Which is why it is a pivot having to happen on my channel, because I want to in the future be a part of the unions. And it I will explain to y'all what's been written in black and white, but I don't want to be seen as someone who, I don't want this to hinder me from being kept from joining the unions in the future. So there's a pivot that has to happen in me doing reviews on shows and making commentary on shows, past, present, and future. Creators with no intention to join SAG can choose to continue to promote the studios based on your comfort level. If you have no intention of joining SAG or any other union, you can do whatever you want. That's basically what they're saying. If you have no intention in the future of joining SAG, and that's not even joining SAG as an actor, they have influencer contracts now under SAG. If you don't plan to join a union whatsoever, you can do whatever you want. That's basically what this is. If you don't plan on joining a union, you can do whatever you want. But know this, if you are working with them and no one's trying to guilt you into doing anything, if you decide, well, whatever I want is me doing whatever I want, it's working with, studios and getting paid or going to different red carpets or promoting different shows, this is a hindrance to what they are trying to do out there on the picket lines. So far, there's been a lot of hoopla going around about, striking and what that looks like for content creators and what you should do. I'm going to make sure I have said everything so far of what's happening right now. They're out picketing. It's not just in California. I'll tell you guys some more about, another reason why it's just it needed to be a strike. It definitely needs to be a strike on all fronts. Studio executives, because I know the array of what the wages were for studio executives. And I'm going to be mad if I didn't save this. Okay, I found it. I did save this. So, because a lot of the studio executives and a lot of studios have been saying we can't afford to pay writers and actors more. Meanwhile, studio CEOs, the studio CEOs, their pay is through the roof. Netflix CEOs make $51 million and $50 million. Nexstar CEO makes $39 million. And this is a year. The CEOs are making from Netflix $51 million and $50 million a year. Nexstar CEO, which if you don't know, Nexstar is a lot. You know what? Let me make sure we still have Fox 4, because that's another thing. Contracts for different cable companies have been up with Nexstar, so you don't actually get the channels anymore. And one of the channels we haven't been getting is Channel 4, which is one of our biggest news stations, Fox 4. So I'll tell you guys what this says when I turn on the TV. You can watch it online. You can watch it online and you can stream free previews of sports and everything. But they have threatened to remove channels. So this isn't just a thing of, oh yeah, the news could be removed based off of Nexstar, who is a big company who holds a monopoly over different news stations and what's going on. Their CEO makes $39 million a year. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO makes $39 million a year. Comcast CEO. Now I know a few of y'all got Comcast. That CEO makes $32 million a year. The Paramount CEO makes $32 million a year. The Walt Disney Studio CEO just had his contract extended and said that, the writers and the actors going on strike, the SAG and WGA, Basically, in layman's terms, to shorten it in a way y'all understand, he basically said they doing too much and they need to get back to work because ain't nobody about to pay them no more. In my own words and how I read that. But I'm going to find what he said so I can be politically correct. But he's not even making $24 million a year anymore. I think he's making about $27 million a year. So he got a pay increase. Yeah, got a pay increase. The ANC CEO, $24 million a year. Fox Corp CEO making $22 million a year. So every time they say they don't have enough money to pay the actors and the writers, let's look back to how much you are legitimately making a year off of what? Because I want a detailed list of exactly what do y'all do. Do y'all be down in the studios acting y'all behinds off? Are y'all getting up at, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and make sure you get to the studio on time to make your call time? Are you doing long hours and days on the set? Are you working on unsafe working conditions on some of these sets? Are you running the risk of getting sick and having to continue? Are you loading props? Are you doing hair and makeup? Are you setting up craft services? Are you doing anything that the Teamsters and the WGA and SAG is doing? Do you have to, after a project, figure out what's next after you've paid the taxes on this money that you just made and paid everybody? Do you have to figure out what's your next job, if you can get another job after your stint on this show or this movie ends, if it's not already written to your contract that you can't go out and get another job? Do you have to worry about possibly making any different changes to your hair or your face or your body, tattoos or anything that can keep you from, getting in trouble with a production? Or is there anything that you CEOs have to think about that all these other people, actors, writers, actual producers, not what y'all claim to be, producers, directors, makeup artists, costume designers, prop masters, craft services, lighting, PAs, runners, audio, editors, the graphic design, anybody, do you have to think about anything that they have to do? They work long hours for little to nothing after taxes and having to pay the people to make sure they're able to get other jobs and they're protected. But y'all are making upwards of, I want to say the range based off of these, a year salaries that I just looked at, y'all are making upwards of $22 to $51 million a year. Because you're doing it for big business and you're doing it for stockholders and people who only care about how many stocks you can trade and how much money are we going to make this year, and you need to cut costs to do this, you need to do that. I feel like y'all will start caring when y'all start losing money, which is currently what's going to happen. Because when I said that get ready to not have a fall season of television and get ready to not have a winter season of television and get ready for a lot of movies to be pushed back from being released because the studios are going to have to hold on to them super tight because there is no way for them to release it without having a follow-up or something. That's what's about to happen because the writers aren't writing and the actors aren't acting, and you can't do anything with AI because if you do, these people can sue you because they didn't give their consent. That's another thing. AI scanning has been happening a long time, not a long time, for a while now, based on, what the people have been saying. They've said a lot of people have either, signed off on it without knowing or have been straight up lied to and they have been scanned. So that's something somebody needs to look into if you're one of those people who was lied to or signed off on it without knowing what was going on, that you've already been scanned for this. What else is there? Because I don't want to miss anything. As a content creator, there's there's a lot of what you can do, what you can't do, what you can do, what you can't do. A lot of misinformation being put out there. half of the CEO's salary. Listen, I still want to know what exactly do they do to get that salary other than making the wealthy 1% stockholders, the super rich people just happy to make more money. What exactly do you do? I need to know. I want to know. As a content creator who supports the union, I come from a union family. My grandmother was in the union. My aunt was in the union. I asked her yesterday, "Were you ever in the union?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Did y'all ever have to strike?" She told me they threatened to strike, and then the negotiations got to negotiating, and things were worked out. They wasn't even out there long. I come from a union family. I support the union. I support what they're doing because they're fighting for not only the people who are here now in the industry, but the people who are going to make it into the industry and join these unions. They're also fighting for the people in the past who are about to have their likeness and their voices used, and the people who would need to survive off of that from the past. Their families won't even get paid off of that because people are being greedy and selfish and not caring what is going to happen to the rest of the world. If you don't know, I'm going to tell you now, it's hot union summer. Not only is the WGA striking, SAG is striking, UPS in certain states are striking. They on strike. I want y'all to strike to your heart's content, and also I want y'all to strike, add on to negotiations, better looking uniforms because they're ugly. I'm just tell y'all now, I know y'all are trying to get safer working conditions, living wage, and so much more, but I also want y'all, being myself, being me, go ahead and put on them, get rid of them ugly ass uniforms. So UPS is striking. If you live in California, I believe it's Southern California, but I could be wrong. It could be all of California. Baby, Medieval Times is striking. Okay, Medieval Times tried, based off of one of the ladies said, tried to stop their unionization, but they got it together, and they striking for living wage, safer working conditions. The knights actually fight with real weapons, are expected to hop off of horses. this right here, the CEIUHUHW. Okay, and I believe, if I remember correctly, they work for behavioral specialists and things like that. They on the picket lines right now striking. Kaiser, they okay, they're in Cali. Okay, they're striking right now. Kaiser, I'm gonna have to do my due diligence to look into that company, but they handed, I believe, either the CEO or the boss a 10-day, strike notice to let them know, hey, we're gonna go on strike. We're going on strike. There is a Minnesota company or behavioral specialist company that they just got their union. They're gonna go on strike. They're striking in California. They're striking in New York. Strike, 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 strike. The I believe the United Auto Workers of these United States, and I want to make sure I have it correctly to tell y'all who else is striking, because baby, people is striking. No more will they put up with what's unsafe working conditions, not being able to make living wage, having to break their backs and make work till they all basically work themselves to death to be poor but not be in debt. Kaiser Management, for over 50 locations in 5 states, handed in a 10-day strike notice. Who else is striking? Because there's so many people striking. Before I get into who else is striking, here are some quotes from some people. Natalie Portman says, I've been working since I was 11 years old, and SAG has taken care of me. They made sure that I wasn't working too long, and I got my education while I was working, and I'm so grateful to have the union protecting me every day. My girl who played Matilda, y'all know Matilda, she let us know that she's never made $26,000 in a year to afford the SAG health care. And that has nothing to do with SAG. That has everything to do with the industry not wanting to pay people what they're worth, and not wanting to pay people for any background work, the background work that they do. writers, actors, teamsters. Let me tell you something. A lot of people striking. They thought they thought that this was just gonna, they were just gonna be like, yeah, we're just gonna be okay. We're just gonna be okay with everything that is going on. So, like I said, the writers are on strike, actors are on strike. Uh, CEIU serving the CEO of Kaiser a 10-day picket notice with a hashtag that said "Hot Union Summer." Oh baby, we're striking. UPS striking. Teamsters striking. I believe they said the auto workers, United Auto Workers are planning on striking. Waffle House workers are striking because their working conditions are awful. And this is happening in Columbia, South Carolina, where they're striking. People are striking all over. At LA hotel workers are striking. Phoenix, Arizona hotel workers are striking. Gone are the days of breaking our backs. Because I'm a non-union. I'm non-union right now. I want to join the union in the future. But gone are the days of, you know, breaking your back and working yourself to death to the point where by the time you leave this earth, you don't have anything to leave anyone. Gone are the days of barely scraping by. Gone are the days of allowing this greed to happen right in front of our faces and for us to be okay with it. And guess what? We're going to be seeing a whole bunch more news. We're going to be seeing the news more and more now that they can only air reruns. This is what's going to happen. So I know I've been like talking for an hour, but it's just like, if you talk to any of my people, they know I'm passionate about this. I'm serious about this. When I told my aunt, I was like, I'm gonna probably have to pivot my content. I was like, you're probably gonna hear me like talking more and doing more stuff because I'm gonna be doing a lot of pre-records. I'm pivoting content. I was already working on pivoting myself away from doing a lot of reality show reviews, but pivoting my content was already like I was already doing this as my creative director Too Feisty. When she get back, it's her birthday weekend, shout out to you. But I was already pivoting content. This just gave me the kick in the ass I needed to do so. And hopefully, y'all stick around. And if you don't, it's okay. If y'all do, I appreciate you. Sweet Pea, I'm sorry if I didn't say hello to you when you came in. Just simply So Debonair, Gabby Janice, Ray Ray all day. How are y'all doing? I love all y'all for being in here. Thank you. I hope I'm giving y'all, some information that maybe y'all didn't know or maybe needed to be expounded upon. Like I said, I'm going to continue to talk about this. SAG-AFTRA and the WGA, they both have Instagrams if y'all want to follow them and keep up with stuff. I'm going to say this. I don't know what this looks like for Tyler Perry because I know he brings his actors down to the studio to film for a while. Maybe like, a couple weeks, but some of those actors on those shows are actually card carrying SAG members. And if you are a member of SAG and you cross that picket line, you're a scab. If you are a non-union worker, if you're not in the union, you're not in SAG and you're not in WGA, and you cross those picket lines to write or act, and even for all the other, unions that are striking right now, if anyone crosses those picket lines, you're a scab. You're a scab, and that can you're scabbing. You're actively replacing these people and doing the jobs that they are trying to get. They are trying to get better for themselves for. And if you scab, that is going to if you had any plans, and I mean any plans of joining any of these unions, like in entertainment, and even if you're healthcare worker or UPS or anyone else, if you scab, but you have plans in the future to join these unions, automatically not going to happen. because you decided to scab. Now is not the time to scab. Now is the time to stand up for what is right, fight for you, fight for the people who are going to come after you and the people after you and the people after you. Because if we continue to let this go on, they're going to continue to do it and we're going to become obsolete. And then it's just like, so what are we going to do? We're all going to be looking at ourselves, twiddling our thumbs, like, how are we supposed to survive? Because, baby, it's no longer as long as I know how to love, I'll stay alive. We don't have all our life to give. We have to stand up now. We have to fight now. We have to do what needs to be done to make sure that we, right here in this moment, set precedent for those who come after us, and let those who are in charge, who are in power, who are big business know that, man, we're not about to do this anymore. We can't do this anymore. So this is from SAG-AFTRA. This is a TV, theatrical, and streaming strike. They're on strike. They have a website. I think tomorrow we'll take a look at the website because it has much more. But here is their notice that they put on their Instagram. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and definitely link everything below that I've talked about so far, or I think would give y'all a better insight on different things that are going on, like the AI situation. Justine Bateman explains it a whole lot better than I do. Important. Until we get a fair deal, all of our members should stand strong and follow some important guidance to maximize our leverage during the strike. Familiarize yourself with work you can and cannot do during the TV theatrical streaming strike. Visit SAG-AFTRA for details. Join the picket line and post your support on social media using hashtag SAG-AFTRA and SAG-AFTRA. For struck work, instruct your representatives to discontinue negotiation with studio streamers and networks. Report all strike-breaking activity by emailing SAG-AFTRA at SAG-AFTRA.org. SAG-AFTRA membership rule 1A reads, no member shall render any services or make any agreement to perform services for any employer against whom the union is conducting a strike, nor shall any member otherwise violate any strike order of the union. Currently, we do not have an agreement with the AMPTP, which means members cannot work or perform services related to TV theatrical contracts. Any member who disregards the strike order could face discipline per SAG-AFTRA Constitution and SAG-AFTRA membership rules. Pre-members and those performers who wish to join our union in the future need to remember one very important rule. A non-member seeking future membership in SAG-AFTRA will not be permitted to join if they performed uncovered services for struck companies during the strikes. By standing together during the strike, we will get a fair contract. For a comprehensive list of all affected work and further guidelines, visit SAG-AFTRA.org. As a SAG-AFTRA member, you must observe these rules. Any violation could result in union disciplinary action. If you have any questions about specific work or projects, we are here to help. What you can't work on during this time. Our power in a strike comes from the unity of our members, and all of our members standing strong together and withholding work from struck employers. As a member, you need to know what work is off limits until we get a fair deal. Any work covered by TV theatrical contracts is prohibited. This includes the following: producer SAG-AFTRA codified basic agreement. SAG-AFTRA television agreement includes new media. Special new media agreements, low budget theatrical agreement LBA, moderate low budget project agreement MPA, ultra low budget project agreement UPA, SAG-AFTRA new media agreement for high budget original or derivative programs, on camera work, acting, singing, dancing, stunts, puppeteering, off camera work, voice acting, narrating, singing, ADR, looping. It also includes background acting, stand-ins, auditions including self-tapes, rehearsals, publicity, conventions, interviews, tours, or promotion via social media of any struck work or struck companies. It's off limits until we get a fair deal. You can find all this on the website. I'm going to put it there, and we're also going to take a look at the website tomorrow. For a comprehensive list of all affected work and further guidelines, visit SAG-AFTRA.org. What you can work on. Many of our members can and should keep working under various other contracts. Here's a quick look at some of the contracts members can work on work under during the TV theatrical streaming strike. Now, if you're wondering why, if you're a person like me who watch soap operas and you're wondering, what's going to happen to the soap operas, first of all, I said if the actors had went on strike, soap operas would be okay because they have the back catalog of so many episodes. They have like, I want to say some have over 10,000 episodes that can, like, you can run the episodes from the very first episodes of some of these not giving any advice, not saying what people have done. I just always knew that soap operas would be okay. And because a lot of these networks had soap operas on their network, they can legit, for the ones that were canceled, do stuff with that catalog. But soap actors are signed to a different section based off what I've read of SAG-AFTRA, and their contract doesn't actually end and is not up for negotiations until I believe the end of the year or next year. So they're going to continue to work. They're on hiatus right now from filming, but once they come up off of hiatus, all soap opera actors are expected to return back to set. When it comes to who's supposed to write their storylines, well, producers on soap operas write the storylines, and then they have they have writers who back in the 2008 writer's strike actually left the WGA to become IFC, if I want to have that abbreviation correct, because the last time I read it, I think it said it's either IFC, and they are writers for the soap operas. And what's going to happen by the time, whenever the writer strike is over, when it comes to soap operas, the writers who went on strike initially, who worked for the soap operas, if they don't decide to quit the soap opera, or if they, aren't fired or anything, they're just going to have to come back and, assimilate themselves to the writers, like the storylines that are already going on. So this is what you can work on during this time. Commercials, television, radio, digital media includes the influencer agreement and the Cameo for business agreement. Television program covered by the network TV code. Soap operas, variety shows, talk shows, and game shows. Sound recordings, music videos, interactive/video game agreement. Corporate slash educational and non-broadcast, formerly industrial. Programs, station, contracts, and broadcast news. Televisions and new media animation. Dubbing, audiobooks, short project agreement, SPA. Micro budget project agreement, micro. Student film agreement, independent new media agreement, deferrable. Independent podcast agreements and micro monetized podcast agreement. Includes scripted performance and hosting. SAG-AFTRA approved interim agreements. These are the independent productions that would normally be covered by the TV/theatrical contracts and which have qualified for such agreement with SAG-AFTRA, and certain separately negotiated basic cable agreements. For a comprehensive list of all affected work and further guidelines, obviously go to sagaftrastrike.org. So that's what they can work on, and we'll talk more in depth about this, especially as I cover this and start producing different content to give to y'all. So here's something for the network television code, what you can work on. Let's look at the network television code and how it differs from TV, theatrical, and streaming agreements. Officially called the National Code of Fair Practice for Network Television Broadcasting, but better known as the Network Television Code, it is its own contract and remains unstruck. This means members can work on network television code productions. This includes the following: non-dramatic programs, variety shows, talk shows, game shows, reality/competition shows, special events, award shows, documentaries other than those produced for theatrical exhibition, daytime serials, more commonly known as soap operas. Performers engaged to work under the network television code should continue to honor their contracts. Meanwhile, TV/theatrical/streaming agreements cover work performed for companies represented by Alliance Motion of picture and television producers and some independent producers for the most part. This work is scripted programming, or what the agreement calls dramatic. Working on those productions is off limits until they get a fair deal. So that's what's going on so far and what's been struck. They are still out, doing what they need to do to get a fair deal. It's this whole AI thing I'm seeing from some of the actors I do follow on social media is starting to make its rounds. It's starting to make its rounds to them about what's going on and what they're trying to do, and they're not down with it from what I see. And I'm gonna just say this. Like I said, gone are the days of y'all just being able to do whatever y'all want with people's likeness and lowballing people and expecting people to just continue to work until their backs are broke until they can't do anything anymore. A lot of money is about to be lost. A lot. Productions are shut down. Strikes are happening all over the place. More commonly, I've seen it in I don't want to tell y'all exactly where, if you're in any of these states, if you want to go support the strike, if you want to go, march with them, where you can, go and picket. Site 1, Warner Brothers in Burbank, California. Site 2, Amazon/Culver Studios, that is in Culver City, California. Site 3, Fox, is in, Los Angeles, California. That's the Fox lot. Site 4 is the Paramount lot, which is in Los Angeles, California. And you can find all of this on Instagram. SAG-AFTRA, they have their own Instagram. Site 5, Netflix, Los Angeles, California. Site 6, Sunset/Gower, Los Angeles, California. Disney, Burbank, California. Sony, they have two lots, both in Culver City, California. For New York, HBO/Amazon, New York, New York. Warner Brothers Discovery/Netflix headquarters, New York, New York. Paramount, that's Site 3, New York, New York. NBC Universal, Rockefeller Plaza, 49th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue, New York. I'm not sure where else you can pick it at. So someone asked, does Disney really only want to pay for background actors once and then own the rights forever? SAG-AFTRA, thank you. Yes, and that is sadly correct. I'm not actually sure. I'm not actually sure. They have their own things with them. I'm going to say this. I'm not sure if wrestling is on strike just because they have their own things with them. And I don't think they're signed to, I don't know if they're under, SAG. I don't know if they're under SAG. I know professional wrestlers for some companies are considered independent contractors. They do have contracts, but they are independent contractors. But you do have professional wrestlers or former professional wrestlers who often make comebacks to, different companies. Dwayne Johnson, he's a part of SAG. John Cena, he's a part of SAG. Dave Bautista, they're part, all of them are part of SAG. I'm not sure how this is going to affect them. I'm not sure how this is going to affect them. I don't know if wrestling is going to. I'm not sure if they can join SAG-AFTRA. That's something I would have to look into. Okay, so based off, they are not. They all act. So I figured they. Well, no. So if they are doing their thing under WWE, they can't join SAG-AFTRA. But if they are doing things, because I don't know if wrestlers have a union. I'll say that I don't know if they have a union. That's something I should look into. But because a lot of them have done, union work outside of WWE, they could join SAG if they wanted to. And no, the writers for WWE, I'm not sure. The writers for WWE are not on strike either because they're not a part of the Writers Guild. But from this article from 411 Mania, several people in WWE are keeping their eyes on a potential SAG-AFTRA strike, according to a new report. The Actors Union is in negotiations with major studios with a deadline set for Wednesday. We all know they're on strike now. Um, if the strike does happen, it will mean that actors will be on strike alongside the WGA, marking the first time in 63 years that both actors and writers are on strike, with largely shutting down Hollywood. According to the PWI Insider, a number of people in WWE are waiting to see what happens and have noted that the strikes could well benefit WWE. This is also true. So there are a lot of people who will benefit this, but we're going to talk about that on another time. This will likely benefit WWE, who will be able to carry on without interruptions. Source in the company noted that the Bloodline segment from last week's SmackDown brought in 3 million viewers, which was the most watched segment in a long time and drove more people to watch. Wrestling is live and does not have ties to the union, so it will become more valuable to networks as they try to find a new original content during the strikes. It's also worth noting that WWE is in the middle of negotiation on media rights, which comes at a perfect time considering WGA strike and potential SAG-AFTRA strike. It is believed internally that WWE is now poised to be in much better position for the entertainment world, which will potentially be good for their business. It will be good for their business, but it also may allow, if they do this, it could allow their, people to, do a union or join a union. So while this is good for the company, trying to leverage themselves as entertainment, because at this point, like I said, there is no fall TV going to be happening. There is no winter TV going to be happening. You may see networks hold on to shows that were supposed to be coming out in like this summer that are already done, that have been done, but they've been holding on to them. I know for Stars, they had a couple shows that were already done. They may hold on to them and try to release them at a later date. There are a lot of movie productions that have stopped. Like I know Mortal Kombat had just started filming in June. And they had to go, like, as soon as strike happened, actors have to come off set, and so do the writers. Well, not the writers, because it was already done, so they couldn't be ad-libbing on set. So their production was supposed to wrap up in September. That is now done until everything gets worked out. I know Deadpool was being worked on, no ad-libbing on set, and I was like, I don't know how y'all gonna continue, because y'all need to ad-lib. Okay, ad libs are everything. So a lot of movies are being pushed back. Some movies that were already done, production done, and post production are possibly going to be held on longer too, and will be released later on, because they probably don't have a lot of content. But I believe the only, not I say the only, but I say the only people, or the only, like, things that are currently like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a lot off of this reality TV. We'll see how that works, because some of the people on certain reality shows are card carrying SAG members. How is that gonna work out? We'll see. Soap operas, they have their own contract, they have their own writers, they're going to continue on. It also means opportune time to try to replay some of the old shows, like old soaps that y'all canceled. This is a good time for them. They'll probably be going, no, I think they'll still be going there 5 days a week, but they could try to have them go longer, like 7 days out of the week, depending on however it goes. And then you have companies like WWE and AEW and TNA and different things like that. They can market themselves as prime entertainment. So who knows what's going to happen, but currently, so far, this is what we know. This is what's happening. I will expound on more things later on as more information comes in. It can be properly vetted, and it is SAG-AFTRA approved, and they put this out and it's been compiled. I'll let y'all know. I'm going to keep up with like what this means for content creators. Like I said, I was already pivoting And I think y'all could see that I was already pivoting away from a lot of like reality, and script, like reality shows. I was going to try to get into more scripted stuff, but I waited too late to do that before the strike, but it's okay. But I got other content. I'm very entertaining on my own, okay? And I will be talking about this strike because not only is this, important for those of us who planned on getting into this industry, but there are also other strikes going on, so we need to know what's going on. So I will be reporting on that, and then a lot of stuff has been happening recently, so I'm gonna be talking about it. And with that being said, that was it. That was all. I don't have any more for right now. I will be back later to talk about what the strike looks like for OWN and what's going to happen with them, because they do too have scripted content on their network. And they do too have card-carrying SAG actors on their network. What does this look like for them? And, with that being said, that was it. That was all I'm going to give y'all. I'm going to go in and edit the description box to just, give links to different stuff. Links to different stuff that I help y'all. They said that there's a Black Mirror episode where the AI thing is addressed. Selma Hayek's like her likeness, and like she's a actress on this Black Mirror episode, and they used AI to regurgitate her, her likeness and her voice and everything. So if y'all watch Black Mirror, this will try to help explain it. The Justine Bateman link that I'm going to put in the description box below will try to help explain it, but I don't have any more for right now. I'll be back later, and I hope y'all have been informed. I hope y'all are seeing what's going on right now, and that the people are no longer going to take what is like the scraps that are being given to them and to be treated the way they're being treated. So with that being said, we support the strike over here. We do. We support the unions, all of the unions. Not just the WGA, not just SAG, but we support all the unions that are striking. The Medieval Times Union, UPS Union, the Healthcare Workers Union, the Hotel Hospitality Workers Union. We support all of them. I'm up out of here. I'll see y'all